talk about in the AFC, there are so many of these quarterbacks. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson now. There are so many quarterbacks. The one team in the AFC, I literally cannot figure out what they're doing. And who am I to question this man? He's only the greatest coach ever. But it's Belichick in New England. I mean, I do not understand their draft. They drafted corners, guards, and kickers for the slowest offense in the league. They do not adapt at all to offensive football. And in 2023, the one thing I do like about the Browns, they do have an offensive-minded coach, which I feel like is where the league is heading, and you're seeing it. I've been saying it, the last 2 years, championship weekend, all four coaches have been, offensive-minded head coaches. And there's been some speculation, and I'm asking this question because I want to tie it back to the Browns. I don't know. Is this really, could it be Belichick's last season in New England? If something goes south with Stefanski, could Belichick come back to Cleveland? Like, it's a thought I've had because by far, New England is the worst team in the AFC East. I seriously believe there is a scenario, if Tua Tagovailoa especially stays healthy, New England in their own division goes 0-6.
That very well could happen. I agree with you. It seems like since Brady has left, they've just kind of fallen off the map. They look good one week, they look like garbage the next. You can't pinpoint them like you're saying. You just don't. And then like you said, the draft is just odd. The last thing I kind of heard on them is they were, I guess, one of the main teams looking to sign D-Hop. So maybe that's their offensive move, but it seems like Bill is running with Mac, who I don't know what Mac is. Quite frankly,
yeah.
I don't know what Mac.
I mean, how do you know? I pretty much ranted on this the other day. The last podcast I made, I said these are moves you make when you're trying to sabotage an organization. He gave Devontae Parker, who PFF statistically rated the worst wide receiver in separation over the last 3 years individually, 2020, 21, and 22. He gave him a 3-year, $33 million contract extension to be your number 2. And on some nights, he's going to be your number 1 because let's face it, Juju Smith-Schuster, he's never been healthy throughout his career, whether it's been in Pittsburgh or Kansas City. You're not giving your quarterback any chance to succeed. It's like they want to play. It's like they're seeing all these modern offenses in the NFL, and Belichick's stubbornness is saying, we're just going to go to 1980, fullbacks and 2 tight end set, and run the hell out of the ball. That's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, it is kind of wild that they've probably been running a very similar offense for the last 5-10 years. The difference is the trigger man. Without Brady in there, it's not the same thing. They don't seem to be able to get anything going. You are correct on his signings. I don't know. I just feel like I do see a scenario where Bill's like, all right, I've ran my course here. Kraft is like, you know what, Bill, thank you for everything you've done. And he leaves. And then if Stefanski does not get it done, I'd take Belichick in a heartbeat. I really would. I mean, I am a Browns fan through and through. I'm pulling for Kevin Stefanski. I think Watson, it took me a while to get to this point, but I think Watson is going to get back to the man that he was, or the player that he was. Because there was always this little tiny piece of me in the back of my head like, what if he just never gets right again?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But now I'm all aboard on that. So now that's why this man stays as my background, because he is the key to making it all work. Him and that damn Denny's menu. He's the key to making it work. And if they don't make the playoffs this year, I think he's gone. I really do. I think he's gone. The biggest thing with the Browns and this use could probably go across the board, but especially with the Browns. If they're revamping this offense, how long is it going to take for the pieces and the parts to come together?
Yep, it's a good point.
Is it 4 games? Is it 6 games? Is it 8 games? And if they're 3-5 after 8 games, Stefanski's ass is on fire at that point.
The one thing I
So,
do like about the Browns is it does seem like Watson is getting camaraderie with the receivers. They've been there on training camp. They're working together. One team that has not done that, Clarence, is the Buffalo Bills. And I'm asking you, of course, specifically about the Stephon Diggs situation, because we all know Buffalo is one of the best teams in the league. Roster-wise, talent-wise, Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks, all that. Yet, ever since Brian Dable left to become the head coach of the Giants, Buffalo, they don't have the same mojo they once had. McDermott, to me, if he didn't sign that contract extension, he'd be on one of, if not the hottest seat in the league. Buffalo, to me, is a very weird team. I still like them a lot. I think Buffalo is in a situation where they could absolutely go win the Super Bowl. But there's also that scenario of Diggs is unhappy, and I never like it when a team has, controversy going into a season. We saw it here in Cleveland, the Odell Beckham, Freddie Kitchens here. We saw what a disaster it turned into. There's a situation where Buffalo completely turns into a disaster, and it's why I'm also looking at it. If Miami stays healthy, Tua, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, they added Jalen Ramsey on defense and a great defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio. I think I've sort of changed my mind. I went back and forth, and Initially had Buffalo winning that division. Now I got Miami winning the division. I don't really see the Jets as a playoff team with Aaron. I think their schedule's too hard. I think it's going to take Aaron a year to get acclimated into that system. How do you see that all working out?
I think Miami is scary as hell. I really do. It seems like they have everything, and then if they somehow, I've heard rumors of them being the ones that signed Dalvin Cook as well. You add him to that, woo, and to us, and like you said though, the main thing is to us staying healthy. But if he stays healthy, they, I think they're the best team in the AFC East. That's just, I really do. I think that Buffalo, great team. I think they're still a playoff squad. I just think Miami has just, they're stacked all over the place. And the way the league is going, it's become an offensive league now at this point. Their offense is on point when Tua's at the helm. As far as the Jets go, I tend to agree with you. Aaron Rodgers has played in the same system his entire career. And it's the same franchise. He's had what, 2 head coaches. So,
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be some transition there. It's going to take some time.
First time with a defensive-minded head coach as well, obviously McCarthy, and then LaFleur, and now Saleh. So last NFL question for you, Clarence. Give me the team this year that you think is going to be a good surprise, maybe good that people don't have as much on their radar, and then a team that everybody is over the moon about. They think they're going to be great, and you're not as high on them as maybe as most people.
A team I think that could shock somebody, that could shock a lot of people. I think it'd be Tampa Bay, man. I think that I think our old quarterback Baker Mayfield is down there now. Best receiving core he's ever had in his life. Sorry, in the NFL, I should say. But he was also a guy, Baker was making, scabs look good in 2018. So, but I think Tampa's a team that could shock some people. Excuse me. As far as a team that I think people are over the moon about, maybe San Francisco. They don't. We still don't know who the damn quarterback is. They've got what? They've got Trey Lance, who they gave up all those assets for. They've got the kid who ended the last season, whose name escapes me. Who was the
Purdy,
quarterback that was
Purdy.
Purdy? Yeah, Brock Purdy. And then I know they signed Darnold.
Yep.
So but I feel like the NFL is a week to week league, and the way that Brock Purdy played last year, he looked pretty damn solid. I want to see it happen over a full season, though.
Yeah, I agree with you actually on both. There's a lot of people that think Tampa's going to get the number one pick, and I don't see it. I don't think they're going to be great, but I think 6, 7, 8 wins if Baker stays healthy because I like a lot of their offensive pieces still. I
Yeah.
think that they need to get younger on defense. We'll see how good of a coach Bowles is. And I agree with you on Purdy. I was saying it all season long. I was never a believer in Purdy. I thought really his stats were inflated. A lot of the after the catch and obviously what my team did to him in the NFC Championship game. But I will say this: my kind of shock team is actually a team in the South. You mentioned Tampa. I actually really like Carolina a lot. I
Okay.
like Bryce Young. I know there's some concerns about the size, but I really like Frank Reich as a coach. Don't think he should have been fired in Indianapolis at all. And
No.
I think that they do have some weapons. Their offensive line is younger and coming of age. And in that division, I get the Saints are good, but I don't know what I'm getting out of Michael Thomas or Alvin Kamara, really. Don't want their coach either. So I think there's a possibility Carolina wins the South this year. And for a team that this team to me, not a lot of people are picking them to make the playoffs, but they think they're still going to be decent to average. I think this team could be one of the worst teams in the league. And that to me is Tennessee. Um,
Absolutely.
I don't like their roster. I think much like we talked about Nick Chubb. I know Derrick Henry's the only offensive piece they have. I would try to get something for him now. I think Tennessee's in a complete rebuild. I don't like the kid Will Levis out of Kentucky. He was the least rated quarterback I had on my board. Their defense is very old and expensive. It's a lot of Belichickian New England like. A lot of people like Mike Vrabel. I know they had the number one seed 2 years ago, but they had AJ Brown, they had Julio Jones, who was obviously injured, but he still had some production. I don't see there's people that are saying Tennessee 7, 8 wins. And I'm looking at them, and to me, they're like a 5, 6 win team.
I tend to agree with you. I'm trying to figure out what the hell it is they're doing down there. They spent a draft pick 2 years ago on Malik Willis. They threw him out to the Wolves a couple of games. He had zero time to do anything. I watched a few of those games because I was interested to see how this kid would do.
Yes.
He had zero time back in that pocket. And then I think after getting hit a few times, he got happy feet. So I don't understand what the point of drafting him was and then coming back and then spending another pick on Levis.
And there's a report out there that he's actually outperformed Will Levis, but they're going to cut Malik Willis because they drafted Will Levis. So who knows what they're doing? I know a lot of people are out on Malik Willis. They don't think he can play. I'm not one of those people. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't think Tennessee gave him a chance. Like, I actually believe if San Francisco, for example, a team that really doesn't have a quarterback, if you put him in that offense, I think Malik Willis could do some damage. I think there's potential there. I think we saw flashes of it, but I just think the kid needed time to sit and learn to play the game and actually have some legitimate receivers to throw to.
Yeah, I think that is, I'll put it this way. To me, in any sport, you have guys that are beasts and they're going to succeed wherever they go, no matter what. But then you have guys who need to sit a year and learn and watch and just soak it all in before they get tossed out there. That is a prime example of Malik Willis in my eyes. That guy, he played at Liberty, so his competition wasn't that great. Let him sit, let him learn, and then see what happens.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.